Hello everyone, I'm Jay Joshi and welcome to the 14th episode of Learning Java. Today, we'll be learning about the math functions or the math class. So in my previous videos, I've covered about the character class and the string functions. And in the same way, there are also math functions, functions which are already pre-built in Java and we can use math related functions in them. So, as I mentioned before, there are many math functions, but I'll be covering only the major ones which you'll be using the most. So, the first math function which we have is math.out, open bracket, close bracket. So, this is the basic syntax of calling a math function, like how we have the character function, character dot is letter, for example. We invoke the isLetter function from the character class, and we used a dot operator for that. And the character which we used is comes in the brackets. In the same way, the math class is there, and we invoke the power function from the math class, and the particular variable or literal goes in the brackets. So let's see how this math.power function works. So this mat.pow, as the name suggests, pow means power. So 2 raised to 3 or 4 raised to 5, like that. So 2 raised to 2, that'll be 4. So how does this work? So we put the two numbers in the bracket. Now what numbers? I'll put 3 for better demonstration. So if we want to do 2 into 2 into 2, that's nothing but 2 raised to power 3. So we can do this by doing 2 comma 3, mat.power 2 comma 3, which means that 2 raised to 3. So the base number comes before the comma, and the number to which it's raised is comes in the after the comma. So this mat.power will be 2 raised to 3, and this math function returns a double. So the output of this will be, so basically 2 raised to 3 is 8, so the output will be 8.0 because it returns a double. So let's see how it is in working. System.out.println, and it will be, the output should be 8.0, which it is. So this is the math.power function. Now moving on to another function, like how we have power, we also have square root. So to use the square root function, it's instead of pow, it's sqrt. So you're basically invoking the square root function from the math class. And like how we had 2 raised to 3, this will be, let's say we have the number 4. So in the pow function, there are two parameters, the base number and the raised to number. But in the square root, we have only one, the square root of the number which we want. So let's say we have mat.sqrt, square root of 4, the number, and the output should be 2.0 because square root of 4 is 2, and it returns a double like pow, which is 2.0. And just a quick note, let's say the number is like 3, which doesn't have a perfect square, it'll return the decimal equivalent to the number of decimals which double can accommodate. So up next we have the cube root function. So first we have the power function, which is raised to, then square root, and now cube root. So cube root, like square root, it basically does the cube root of the particular number in the parenthesis. It has only one parameter and it returns a double value. So in this case we have the number 27, and the cube root of 27 is 3. So and it returns the double equivalent, so the output will be 3.0. So now we'll be looking into the round function. So as you know, in basic math, we round off a decimal number to its closest whole number. So let's say we have the number 3.3. This number will be rounded off to 3 because you know the basic rounding of rules. And 3.6 will be rounded off to 4 because that's much closer. Like that. So to do this in Java, we have the math.round function, and it can be invoked in this manner: math.round, and in the bracket you have one parameter which will be a decimal number. And remember, one point to note over here is that math.round returns the long number. So like how we have byte, short, int, and long, it'll return the long equivalent of the number. So when we round up 3.6, we get the output as 4, which is long in this case. And if we have 3.3, for example, then the output will be 3. Great. So now, something similar to round, we have two more functions: floor and seal. Now, these might sound a bit weird, like floor and seal, like how we have in a building, but there's a simple method to understand this. Consider the number 3.3. And consider, like, this is the number 3.3, and if you round this off, the answer will be 3 because basic round of rules. But consider, like, you know how the ceiling of a building is on the top. So consider a ceiling on the top of the number 3.3 over here, and consider the floor of 3.3 at the bottom. So it has the ceiling on the top and the floor at the bottom. So 3.3 is a decimal number, and the whole number greater than 3.3 will be 4. So it'll be above 3.3, and the whole number less than 3.3 will be 3. So 3 and 4. So on the ceiling comes the number 4, and on the floor comes the number 3. So how does this come in practice? We can use the math function math.ceil if we want to round off a number to its greater whole number. So 3.3's greater whole number is 4, and so math.ceil 3.3 will return 4 in the double form. In the same way, floor will return the whole number lesser than the particular decimal number. So the output should be 3 in the double form, which it is. So this is the floor, ceil, and round functions. Now we have a different set of functions called max. So the math.max function is dot max function. This function is used to check which number is greater, so which number is maximum. So let's say we have the numbers 5 and 4. So the math function takes two parameters and it basically just checks which number is bigger, and it'll return that particular number. So system.out.println math.max. And so what this math function will do, it'll check which number is greater, 5 or 4, and then it'll return the greater number. So in this case, the greater number is 5 and it returns 5. One important point to note over here is that the return type of the math.max function is the same as that of its parameters. So let's say if we have 5.0 and 4.0, then the output will be 5.0 because the parameter is of a double type, decimal type, so it returns the basic decimal type. Now, similar to the max function, we also have the min function. So as the name suggests, this returns the smaller number out of the two parameters. So in this case, it'll be 4.0. And just like the max function, it returns the same data type as that of the parameters. Last but not least, we have the math.abstract function, which for short in Java we write ABS. Now, abstract might be a new concept, so I'll be first explaining what abstract means. So basically, the abstract of a number is the positive equivalent of a particular number. So in simple terms, it basically converts a negative number to a positive number. So let's say we have the number -5. So the abstract of -5 will be its positive equivalent, which will be +5. So +5, which is 5 basically. So if we invoke this math.abs, it'll convert -5 to its positive equivalent, which is 5, and return that. So the output will be 5. And if the number itself is positive, then it'll return the basic positive equivalent because it's already positive. So what this basically math.abs does, it basically converts the number to its abstract form, which means it converts the negative number to a positive number. And the return type of the math.abs function is the same as that of its parameter. It has only one parameter, so like the math and min function, its return type is the same as that of its parameter. So let's say we have the number -5.3, so the output will be 5.3, so which is its positive equivalent form. So that's it for today, everyone. Thanks for watching, and if you have any queries, doubts, or suggestions, you can mail me. My email will be in the description down below. And thanks again for watching.